Hello and welcome to Stretford Paddock. My name is Joe and it is Tuesday the 9th of June and we're here for the paper talk this morning. Let me turn that down slightly. That seems a little bit loud, doesn't it? There we go. I'm here for the paper talk this morning. How you doing at home? We're going to be looking at Donny Van De Beek, the continued story, it's not a saga yet because it's only been like a week, but the continued story of Donny Van De Beek to Manchester United. There's been an update, there's been further news, there's been sort of an extension of the news we've seen already. We're just sort of rolling down that hill. It's picking up snow. This snowball is rolling and getting bigger and bigger at the moment. So we'll give you the latest on that. There's also been some links to Ansu Fati of Barcelona. We're here to mostly, let's face it, debunk those rumours. Also in the comments, Aidan Dempsey and Gunil K. Thank you very much for joining the Stretford Paddock Academy there. You're going to be getting... Over the weekend, we should be getting a behind-the-scenes vlog, so look out for that. Hope you're doing okay this morning. Good morning, Joe. Hope you're well today. Yes, I'm very good. I'm very good, thank you. I'm very good. Hope everyone's doing well at home. People saying 38.5 million bid floating around on Twitter. Well, we're going to get into that. We've got figures, we've got facts, we've got stats to look at. We've got all sorts of things to look at with this deal. It does seem as though... Well, actually, I haven't spoken about it on the news yet, so we'll get into that. We'll talk about my thoughts on this deal, my thoughts on the chances of this Donny Van De Beek situation coming through. And this is from VI, which is, what are they short for again? I know what they're short for, I can't remember. It is Football International. Sorry, I should remember that. But they are tier 2 on Reddit. So that means very well sourced, very accurate. If they say something, you'd better listen. Obviously, it's not quite as high as Tier 1. We've been through this now. We know how the tier system works. But Tier 2 on Reddit, so very reliable. And this is Van De Beek. Manchester United prepares offer for Van De Beek again, like I say, coming from Football International, which I assume means Football International. But maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's another sport. Football may well be another sport that we've never heard of. This is from Marco Timmer. And it sort of softly brings you in and then hits you with a punch later on this article. Although Manchester United has expressed the interest in Donny Van De Beek with managing director Edwin van der Sar, Ajax has still not received an official offer for the 23-year-old midfielder. Negotiations are said to start soon, however. United think it can make its move and is preparing an offer that will go to 40 million euros. So this again, just so you're aware of the slightly strange syntax and maybe we might get in this article. This has been translated from Dutch, but usually I've found Dutch articles tend to translate like Google Translate to English a bit more clearly. They seem to lose a little bit less in the pipeline compared to Spanish and some of the other countries' articles that we read. So we'll see, but obviously I'll sort of filter through anything that may have been lost in translation a little bit. Man United hopes to trump Real Madrid in the battle for Van de Beek. The amounts have already been negotiated between Ajax, De Koninklijke, the footballer, and his entourage. Real has to transfer the amount of 50 million euros, which can increase to 55 million, after which a medical examination will prevent Van de Beek from transferring. So basically, he will undertake a medical after that. The Spanish superpower seems to want to wait for the time being. This is the rumour that's been reported over the weekend, that was reported yesterday, is that Real Madrid are either stepping aside or are waiting. There seems to be a lot of waiting going on. We saw this with Liverpool and Timo Werner. This sort of, well, we're just saying that we're interested, but we're going to wait and see what happens for a little bit longer. Let's not forget, Real Madrid spent, I think, nearly 350 million euros last summer. They got, 5 or 6 players, all at about 40 to 50 to 60 million euros each. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean they don't have any money this summer, but I think they may be approaching this transfer market with a little bit of caution. After, let's face it, not all of those transfers worked out. They brought a lot of players in last summer, and not all of them are, first choice starters at the club as of right now. So I think they may be slightly wary, slightly cautious, and especially with the situation surrounding coronavirus, who knows how much money people will have. Who knows, there may well be this thing where so far at the start of the market, it seems as though there are a lot of people sort of waiting, not sure what's going on. We may see a big flurry of money spent at the end because everyone needs players, everyone's sort of waited, bided their time a little bit, and they're getting desperate. So you may well see, or it wouldn't surprise me to see, loads of money spent in the last couple of weeks of this transfer market because people just want to see the lay of the land a little bit. But what that can allow is for teams like United who know their weaknesses in their squad, and it seems as though despite kind of the public opinion on this, from what I see, it's a lot of number 6 talk. People want a deep line player to sit in behind Bruno and Pogba. In terms of fans, what I see from you guys at home, a lot of people seem to want this number 6. But it seems as though Grealish, Maddison, Van De Beek, it seems as though Solskjaer wants a number 8 or a number 10, which part of that makes me think, is Pogba still going? Part of that makes me think, I mean, I suppose we've got Lingard and Pereira both to kind of remove from the squad if rumours are to be believed. So maybe we just are trying to replace the players we've got. And Solskjaer thinks that Fred and McTominay and Matic are enough of a cover behind these players. But it does seem as though this number 10, this number 8 is the rumoured style of play and rumoured style of player that Solskjaer is after at the moment. Again, what do we think to this? Do we believe, 40 million? What does that sound like to you? 40 million to me is a very good fee for someone of his quality. And again, he's one of those players where I'll admit I've only seen him play in the Champions League. I saw him play against Tottenham. I saw him play in that run they had, which was roughly 12 months ago now that ended. And I thought he looked very good in that team. I thought he stood out amongst. De Jong was a standout in that team. De Ligt was a standout in that team. Ziyech was a standout in that team. Daley Blind was a standout in that team. And most of those have gone on to bigger and better things. The one that still remains is Van De Beek. I think Daley Blind is still there as well, but he's obviously had his own problems with his health and that kind of thing, and he's at a slightly later stage in his career. You wouldn't expect him to get a big move off the back of that. But Ziyech has joined Chelsea now, De Ligt joined Juventus, De Jong joined Barcelona, and it looks as though Van de Beek may be on his way to either Real Madrid or Manchester United. Van de Beek is a brilliant technical footballer. I think the only question mark would be if he can play physically and adapt to the Premier League. Yeah, a lively box-to-box is what we need most in midfield. I have a feeling Jesse will start against Spurs. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised to see Jesse start against Spurs. I think the one thing we can say about Jesse Lingard is when he's at his best, whatever his best is, and whether you think his best is good enough is irrelevant. When he's at his best, it does seem to be against those bigger names, those big teams, those high-pressing teams like Liverpool, like City, like Tottenham, and he does tend to come out, or he seems to put his best performances on against those sorts of bigger teams. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him against Tottenham. Why is there no reliable news of us going in for a defensive midfielder? I think that's one position we need to cover ASAP. Well, that's what I was alluding to before. A lot of the consensus amongst fans, amongst comments that we see here at Stretford Paddock, and conversations we have, with other people on videos and that kind of thing, is that a number 6 seems to be a logical target. We've got Nemanja Matic, who's our only out-and-out number 6, the only person in our squad who has ever been a sort of single man holding number 6. We've got Fred and McTominay, who also play as part of the double pivot. We've seen that over the last sort of 18 months, especially the last 12 months with Fred. And then we've got Bruno, Pogba, Pereira, Lingard, Mata, all comfortable playing at that number 10 role. And take Mata out of that and Lingard, we've got 3 players who are all comfortable playing that number 8 role. And we don't even tend to play with number 8s at United. We tend to play with 2 sort of holding number 6s. Again, the 6, 8, call it the numbers you want. People's roles are different in games. Number 6 doesn't mean the same thing from club to club. But we see a 2-man pivot at United, don't we? 2 men holding back, and then we have 4 attackers in front of him with two wingers, a striker, and a number 10. So that you would think that we need extra people in that position. Even if we aren't transitioning to a 1-man holding midfielder, even if we are having a double pivot, we still need more players who can play that double pivot, and I'm not sure Van de Beek can. Although, he does look to have some sort of similar qualities to Fred. He's very industrious, good work rate, good technically on the ball, good dribbler. He's got a good passing range. He's much better in front of goal than Fred is. He's a goal threat in a way that Fred isn't. Obviously, we've seen Fred shooting, and it leaves a lot to be desired. But I think he could go into that position possibly alongside Fred or alongside McTominay or alongside Matic, and cause a lot of problems in there. But we don't have that option at the moment, and it seems as though, like I've said, Paul Pogba looks like he's set to stay now. But do these rumours let people, Van de Beek keeps getting mentioned. Do you think that he could be a replacement for Pogba? Because 12 months ago, when we were linked with, or 6 months ago, when we were linked with the likes of Grealish, the likes of Maddison, these sorts of players, these were all in our heads, this is the replacement for Paul Pogba because he's going. And now it looks like he's staying, and we're still linked with the same sort of players, which is slightly strange to me. And we are certain, we know for sure that these rumours are legit as well. That's the thing with this whole Van de Beek thing. We've got the Ajax CEO and former United goalkeeper Edwin van der Sar coming out and saying that these rumours are true. We've got a host of Tier 1 sources, a host of Tier 2 sources saying that this link is genuine. So there's no doubt that there could still be doubt that United are interested, but there is certainly no doubt that there are reliable sources saying that United are interested. Because the only thing that maybe I question is maybe United's interest is being overstated to try to get more money out of Real Madrid. And those sources could still be club sources, so that your Tier 1 sources, Tier 2 sources are still sort of saying, well, the club's telling us that United are interested here and that Madrid aren't. But you don't know why the club are saying that. That would be my only doubt. But other than that, it seems as though there is a definite interest from United. It seems as though there is a definite willingness to sell from Ajax. It seems as though Real Madrid are taking their foot off the gas a little bit on this transfer, leaving, hopefully, a clear path to Van de Beek. Would rather get a DM to replace Pogba with Fred McTominay covering the box-to-box role. Bruno, McSauce, Fred, Pogba and Van de Beek, Matic. That's what big clubs' midfield should look like. That's a good point there. When you think of, do we need an 8, do we need a 10, what do we need? What we need is good players. And at the moment, when you look at our midfield, we've got Fred and McTominay, who I would both sort of say are 7 out of 10, 6.5, 7 out of 10 every week. Very consistent, very good players, have a lot of good qualities, but neither of them I would say are world class. I don't think anyone's going to argue with that. We've got Matic, who a year ago was 4 out of 10 against Everton, 2 out of 10 against Everton, and since Christmas has been probably 7.58 out of 10, defensively speaking. But how long is it until he goes back to being a 4 out of 10 again? Because he's only getting older. He's 31 or 32, I think. So we've seen how bad Matic can be. When is he going to go back to that? And it might not be for another year, it might not be for another 18 months. But we've got that in our heads now. You can't take that image away of Nemanja Matic against Everton last season. We've seen it. The cat's out of the bag for that one. So there's always going to be that lingering doubt over Matic. Then in front of that, you've got Pogba and Bruno, Pogba is certainly a world-class player. Bruno is looking like a world-class player. And then after that, you've got Lingard, who is, decent on his day and has, I would say, has a role in his squad if he wants it. Pereira, who, unfortunately for him, doesn't seem to have worked out at the moment and has been relied on in too many games, which has exposed his weaknesses. So really, United have only got Bruno, Pogba, Fred, who looks to be a lot better, and McTominay, who looks to be pretty good. In terms of really reliable midfielders, that's 4 players. And a top midfield, like you said there, you need 5 or 6 of those players. You need all of those players to be as good as Fred and McTominay. You can't really allow the likes of Pereira, the likes of even, let's face it, Lingard, to be, rotation or somehow playing against top teams when we've got injuries or we've got suspensions. I think we need to bring up the quality. And midfield seems to be the position where, obviously, 2 centre-backs are important. We've seen that with Liverpool. But midfield is that position where if you've got a really good midfield, you'll probably be all right in the season. You've got people stopping chances, you've got people creating chances. That midfield area has to be so good. And we've seen it with United. All of United's great teams had great midfields, except the sort of the latter years of Ferguson. The last couple of years when we had sort of Cleverley or Anderson and Fletcher, we had those sorts of partnerships. But Keane, Scholes, that was the central line, and then we had Hargreaves, then we had Fletcher coming in that brought these teams back up to top sides. But you've got to have a good midfield, and if we don't, we're going to struggle. And I think that he's focusing on that midfield, and I think that's a good thing to do. Let's move on to our second story then. Obviously, that Van de Beek story looks like it's going to run and run. And for good reason, probably. If United are after him, then it's going to keep going until either Madrid sign him or United sign him. So I'm sure we'll be giving you updates on that. Again, if there are any updates, it'll be all over socials. We'll be covering it here on the Paper Talk every morning at 11 o'clock as well. So make sure you stick around for that. The second story then, I just don't even This one is just ridiculous to me. Man United have submitted, the rumour is that they have submitted it, not that they might do or that they're talking about it or that they're coming to an agreement. Manchester United have submitted an £89 million bid to sign Barcelona winger Ansu Fati, according to reports in Spain. The 17-year-old came through Barca's La Masia Academy and was the second youngest player in history to make his senior debut for the Spanish club earlier this season. Fati has made 24 appearances this term after being fast-tracked from the under-18s to the first team by Ernesto Valverde last summer. According to Sport, Jorge Mendes contacted Barcelona last month to inquire about Fati's price, but the Spanish club insisted that the winger was not for sale and would only leave for his £151 million release clause. And the reports that claim that Mendes countered Barca's response with a £100 million euro offer from United, who view Fati as a viable alternative to Borussia Dortmund's Jadon Sancho, one of their priority targets this summer. However, Barcelona president Josep Maria Bartomeu is adamant that Fati will not be sold, as he views the 17-year-old as a key part of the club's future. Speaking after Fati was promoted to the Barca's first team this season, Lionel Messi said, "I really like him and I try to help and support him. He's an amazing player and he's got what it takes to succeed. But if I look at it through my eyes, I'd like them to bring him on gradually like they did with me when I started, taking things nice and easy and without putting pressure on him." What do you think to this then? Absolute rubbish? Can we put this in the category of absolute rubbish? It's absolute rubbish, this one, isn't it? I would be so stunned and appalled, I'm going to go as far as to say appalled, if United have offered £89 million for a 17-year-old who's played 24 games at Barcelona. We've seen it enough over the years. Young lads, when's the last time a young lad came through at Barcelona? In any position, let alone at an attacking position. We saw, what was his name? I can't remember his name. We've seen a host of people come through, have this season. A lot of players at Barca have this season. They come through, they cover an injury, they look good because they're very technically good and they're playing in a great team. Exciting young players, good players, and then next season they don't really hear from him. Or they slowly drip out of the team, go on loan somewhere, don't come back. When's the last time a young player broke through at Barcelona? And not to say that he isn't particularly good, but if we are paying £89 million or offering £89 million for a 17-year-old, I think this is absolutely rubbish. And also, United have submitted an £89 million bid. That's not how transfers work. Very rarely do you just go, "Oh, is he for sale?" "No, he's not, no. We'll give you £89 million from here it is. We've submitted the bid, £89 million. It doesn't work like that. You speak to the agent, you speak to the player, you speak to the club. Is this person willing to go? Are you willing to sell him? Here's a rough fee that we're thinking in this sort of ballpark. Here's the contract negotiations, here's this sort of thing. And then right at the very end, you go to the club and you go, "Remember all this talking we've just done? We've been chattering to each other. We sort of know, we've got an unwritten agreement as to what's going on here. Here's the £89 million that we agreed on. See you later." Most of the time, that is how transfers work. That is why when Paul Pogba came to United, Juventus 2 days before said, "We haven't received an offer for Paul Pogba." Because really the offer is just, we give you the money that we've sort of half agreed on around the corner. And it's the same thing, Harry Maguire. Manchester United have made no offers for Harry Maguire. Well, why is he signed 16 hours later then? And I don't even think it's that they're just lying to throw people off the scent. I think half of it is the offer isn't submitted until the very last thing. Everything is agreed. Everything is sorted beforehand. United aren't just going, 89 million, bang, 70 million, bang, submitting offers left, right and centre. This is just, to me, and obviously I could be proven to eat my words if United sign him, it's just a lazy article linking United to an alternative to Jadon Sancho. And the suggestion that we would be paying 89 million, which is roughly, well, let's even just say 10 million quid less than what we're paying for Sancho, for a lad who's 3 years younger, who has done essentially nothing in his career. I know he's been good. He's made 24 appearances for Barcelona's first team. That's less than Brandon Williams has made for Man United. The suggestion that we're paying 89 million for him, absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish. Joe, where will we see the video of your golf trip? Will it be on here or Howson's channel? So it will be part of the fixture list, which is on Stephen's channel. That's a video we do over there, looking at all the sports fixtures coming up and having a laugh on there. It's a good video if you don't watch that one already. But check out the fixture list, which should be coming out tomorrow. Then there will be a members-only vlog coming out on Stretford Paddock as well, with all the behind-the-scenes stuff, all of us taking the piss, having a laugh, that kind of stuff will be on that vlog for members. And if you want to become a member, click the join button next to the subscribe button, and you get extra stuff. You get extra videos, extra content. We've got a members podcast that we uploaded, and for some reason the way of filtering it so that only members get to watch it, because obviously it's a exclusive content for the members, isn't working. So I'm going to delete that video today and re-upload it for members again, and we'll see if it works. Because we want to keep making sure those videos are going out. But I'll sort that out today. But yeah, if you want to watch the behind the scenes of the golf trip from yesterday, join, become a member, and you should get that this weekend. Right, 170 million euro release clause. Yeah, we're not paying that. We're not going to buy Ansu Fati, don't worry. Right, that's going to be all from me this morning. We should be back for our podcast at 4 o'clock this afternoon. So make sure you check that out. Thank you very much for joining me. We'll see you in a bit.